Imagine walking into your yard, reaching up and twisting a perfectly ripe avocado off the tree. Soft, creamy, still warm from the sun. No plastic bag, no price tag. No, sorry, out of stock. Just food growing quietly in the background of your life. Most people think avocados are difficult, tropical, and only for large orchards. But the truth is this. Once you understand how avocados grow, what their roots need, and how to manage them properly, they become one of the most rewarding long-term food trees you can plant. Today, you're going to learn how to plant, grow, and care for avocado trees the right way, so they don't just survive. They produce for years, even decades. This isn't about one lucky harvest. This is about building a system where your trees get stronger every year, and your supply never really runs out. Let's start from the ground up. 1. Choosing the right location. Love this stage. Planting correctly is what decides whether your avocado struggles for years or takes off like it owns the place. When you dig the planting hole, resist the urge to go deep. Avocado roots are shallow and oxygen-hungry. A deep hole that gets backfilled with loose soil can turn into a water trap, and that's dangerous. Instead, dig the hole only as deep as the root ball itself, but make it 2 to 3 times wider than the container. Width matters more than depth. Wide, loosened soil allows young feeder roots to spread outward easily, which is how the tree stabilizes and begins feeding efficiently. Before placing the tree in the ground, gently remove it from the pot and inspect the roots. If roots are circling tightly around the root ball, common in container plants, loosen them with your fingers or make a few shallow vertical cuts. This encourages roots to grow outward into native soil instead of continuing to circle and eventually strangling the tree. Position the tree so the top of the root ball sits slightly above the surrounding soil level, about 1 to 2 inches higher. This is critical. Avocados hate being buried too deep. Planting high improves drainage and keeps the crown, where trunk meets roots, dry and oxygenated. Never pile soil against the trunk. A buried trunk can rot, and once that happens, recovery is difficult. When backfilling, use mostly the native soil you removed. It might seem helpful to add lots of rich potting mix, but that can create a bathtub effect, where water collects in the amended soil and drains poorly into surrounding ground. Mix in a little compost if you like, but keep the structure close to natural. As you refill the hole, gently firm the soil with your hands, not your feet. Compacted soil squeezes out air pockets roots need to breathe. After planting, create a shallow basin around the tree with soil, like a donut-shaped ring. This helps direct water toward the root zone instead of letting it run off. Then comes the first deep watering. This is not just for moisture, and it settles soil around the roots and removes large air gaps. Water slowly and thoroughly so moisture penetrates deep. You may notice soil sinking slightly. If so, add a bit more soil to keep the root ball slightly elevated. Mulch is your next step. Spread a thick layer of wood chips or leaf mulch 2 to 4 inches deep over the root zone. This mimics a forest floor, keeping roots cool, moist, and biologically active. But keep mulch a few inches away from the trunk, never touching it. The trunk needs airflow and dryness to stay healthy. Young avocado trees are top-heavy and can rock in the wind before roots anchor. If your site is windy, use 1 or 2 stakes placed outside the root ball area. Tie the tree loosely with soft ties, allowing slight movement. Movement actually strengthens the trunk. The stakes are only temporary support. Remove them after the first year. A tree that depends on stakes too long develops a weak trunk. Finally, give the tree time. Don't fertilize immediately after planting. Let it focus on root establishment. New growth may pause for a while. That's normal. Underground, the tree is busy building the foundation that will support years of fruiting. Planting isn't just putting a tree in a hole. It's setting up the environment where roots can breathe, spread, and thrive. Get this step right, and everything that follows becomes easier. Soil, the most important factor. If sunlight grows the top of the tree, soil decides the fate of the roots. And avocado roots are extremely sensitive. They are not tough, woody, drought-resistant roots like many fruit trees. They are fine, fibrous, and need constant access to oxygen. Think of them more like mushroom roots than oak roots. This is why drainage is non-negotiable. Avocado roots need air pockets in the soil. When soil stays wet too long, those air spaces fill with water. Without oxygen, roots suffocate. Once they weaken, soil fungi move in, especially the pathogen that causes root rot. This disease is the #1 killer of avocado trees worldwide. And here's the dangerous part. People often water more when they see a stressed tree, making the problem worse. The rule is simple. Wet but airy equals perfect wet and heavy equals deadly. Test your drainage before planting. Dig a hole about 12 inches deep and fill it with water. If it takes more than a few hours to drain, your soil holds too much water. That is a warning sign. If drainage is slow, never plant at ground level. Instead, create a raised mound 12 to 18 inches high and several feet wide. This lifts the root zone above heavy soil, allowing gravity to pull water away. It also increases oxygen flow to the roots. Many experienced growers say planting on a mound is the single most important step for long-term success. The mound should be wide, not narrow. Avocado roots spread horizontally more than deeply, so give them room to expand outward. When it comes to soil mixing, less is more. Many people make the mistake of filling the planting hole with rich potting soil. That creates a soft bathtub that holds water and discourages roots from spreading into native soil. Instead, use mostly your native soil and mix in some compost, just enough to add biology, not change the structure completely. You want to improve life in the soil, not create a different soil. Avocados evolved in forest environments where soil is loose, full of organic matter, and alive with fungi and microbes. Compost helps introduce that life. It supports beneficial fungi that form partnerships with avocado roots, improving nutrient uptake and stress resistance. After planting, mulch becomes your secret weapon. A thick layer of wood chips or leaf mulch, several inches deep, recreates the forest floor. This does multiple things at once. It regulates soil temperature, keeping roots cooler in summer and warmer in winter. It slows water evaporation, meaning you water less often. It feeds soil microbes as it breaks down. It improves soil structure over time. It reduces weed competition, but mulch must never touch the trunk. Keep it a few inches away to prevent rot and pest problems. Think of mulch like a blanket, not a collar. Over time, as mulch decomposes, it turns into rich, crumbly soil. This gradual improvement is better than heavy amendments at planting because it builds natural soil structure from the top down. Also avoid compacting the soil around the tree. Avocado roots struggle in hard, compressed ground. If the area has heavy foot traffic, keep people off the root zone. Another key point, avocados dislike salty soil. Excess fertilizer salts or poor quality irrigation water can damage roots. This is another reason compost and mulch are better than strong chemical fertilizers early on. Healthy avocado soil should feel slightly loose, smell earthy, and drain well. If you squeeze it and water drips out, it's too wet. If it turns to hard clumps when dry, it needs organic matter. When soil is right, the tree grows steadily, leaves stay deep green, and fruit production increases naturally. When soil is wrong, no amount of fertilizer or care can fully fix the stress. So remember this. You don't grow avocados in soil. You grow them in air-filled, living earth. Perfect. Now we're moving into the stage that determines whether your avocado just survives or actually becomes a heavy fruit producer for years. Let's expand this properly. How to plant. Start before the shovel even hits the soil. Hydrate the tree in its pot a few hours before planting. A moist root ball reduces transplant shock and helps roots transition smoothly into the ground. When digging, remember, depth kills, width builds. The hole should be no deeper than the root ball, never deeper. Planting too deep suffocates avocado roots and traps moisture around the trunk, leading to fungal problems and rot. The trunk flare, where the trunk widens at the base, must stay above soil level. In fact, the root ball should sit slightly elevated, about 1 to 2 inches above surrounding soil. Over time, soil settles, and this prevents the tree from sinking too low. Now go wide. The hole should be at least twice as wide as the root ball, preferably 3 times wider. This loosens surrounding soil so new roots can spread outward easily. Avocado roots grow sideways near the surface, not straight down. When removing the tree from its container, be gentle. If roots are circling around the edge, loosen them lightly with your fingers. If severely root-bound, make a few shallow vertical cuts on the outer root mass. This encourages roots to grow outward instead of continuing to circle. Place the tree in the hole and check alignment. Step back and look from multiple angles. A straight start prevents structural issues later. Backfilling should be soft and natural. Use mostly native soil, lightly mixed with compost if needed, but avoid fluffy potting mixes that hold too much water. Avocado roots want real soil structure with air pockets. Do not stomp the soil down. Lightly press with hands to remove large gaps, but keep the soil loose. Roots need oxygen just as much as water, Water halfway through, backfilling to settle soil naturally, then finish filling and water again deeply and slowly. This helps soil make good contact with roots without compaction. Create a shallow watering basin around the tree, but keep the trunk area slightly raised so water never pools against it. Staking should be minimal. Use soft ties and allow slight movement. Movement strengthens the trunk. Stakes are only temporary support against strong winds. Remove them after the first year so the tree develops strength. Mulch generously after planting, 3 to 4 inches deep, but keep it a few inches away from the trunk. Mulch regulates soil temperature, improves moisture retention, and feeds soil life, which avocados love. Watering the right way. Watering mistakes are the #1 reason avocado trees fail. Avocados do not like constantly wet soil. Their roots are adapted to airy, well-drained conditions. Think deep rain, then drying, not daily sprinkles. Deep watering encourages roots to grow down and outward, creating a stable, drought-resilient tree. Shallow, frequent watering keeps roots near the surface, making the tree weak and dependent. After planting, water deeply but less often. Let the top few inches of soil dry before watering again. Stick your finger into the soil. If it's still moist a few inches down, wait. Young trees need more frequent watering because their root systems are still small, but even then, aim for deep soaking rather than surface moisture. As trees mature, they become more drought tolerant, but they still need consistent moisture during 2 critical stages. Flowering fruit development. Stress during these periods can cause fruit drop. Watch the leaves, and they tell the story. Yellowing leaves that drop easily often mean overwatering or poor drainage. Roots may be suffocating. Brown, crispy leaf tips often point to inconsistent watering, salt buildup, or dry conditions followed by heavy watering. The goal is steady moisture cycles, not extremes. Feeding your tree. Avocados grow fast and produce heavy crops, so they need nutrients, but not all at once. They prefer slow, steady feeding rather than strong chemical bursts. Compost, aged manure, worm castings, and balanced organic fertilizers are ideal. These feed both the tree and the soil ecosystem. Nitrogen helps build leafy growth, but too much creates a beautiful tree with few fruits. Balance is key. You want healthy leaves, not excessive lush growth. Avocados also need micronutrients, especially zinc and iron. Deficiencies often show as yellowing between veins while veins stay green. This is common in alkaline soils. A trace mineral supplement or foliar micronutrient spray can correct this quickly. Mulch plays a huge role here too. As mulch breaks down, it feeds soil microbes. Those microbes help convert nutrients into forms the tree can actually absorb. Healthy soil life equals efficient nutrient uptake. Avoid piling fertilizer directly against the trunk. Spread it in a wide ring under the canopy, where feeder roots live. Think of feeding like fueling an engine, consistent, balanced, and natural. When soil is alive, roots are healthy, leaves stay vibrant, and fruit production follows. An avocado tree doesn't need force. It needs rhythm, deep water, airy soil, steady nutrients, and patience. Get those right, and the tree does the rest. Love this part. This is where an avocado tree goes from nice plant to full-on food machine. Let's go deeper. Pruning for production. An avocado tree naturally wants to grow tall, dense, and leafy. In the wild, that works. In a home garden, it means shade, weak inner branches, and fruit you can't reach. Smart pruning shifts the tree's energy from wild growth to balanced production. Think structure, light, and air. The goal isn't to hack the tree back, it's to guide it. A well-shaped avocado tree looks open in the center, with strong main branches spreading outward like a bowl or wide umbrella. This allows sunlight to penetrate the canopy, which directly affects flowering and fruit set. Flowers that form in deep shade often drop without setting fruit. Start with the basics. Remove dead, damaged, or diseased wood first. Then look for crossing branches that rub against each other. Those wounds invite pests and disease, so eliminate one of the two. Next, manage height. Avocados can easily grow far taller than is practical. When a tree gets too tall, the top shades the lower canopy and fruit production shifts out of reach. Lightly reduce the height by cutting back to a lateral branch, not just leaving the stub. This keeps growth outward rather than straight up. Avoid heavy pruning all at once. Avocados don't like sudden shock. Instead, prune lightly and regularly each year after harvest. This timing is important. Pruning during flowering removes potential fruit and can stress the tree. Also, thin, dense interior growth. If you can't see dappled light through this canopy, it's too thick. Airflow reduces fungal problems and improves pollination activity. One more thing, leaves are the tree's energy panels. Never strip too many. The balance is simple. Enough leaves to power the tree, enough light to fuel fruiting. A controlled tree is a productive tree. Smaller, accessible trees often yield more usable fruit than towering ones lost to shade. Flowering and pollination. Avocado flowering is one of nature's most fascinating systems. Each flower opens twice, once as female, once as male, but at different times. This reduces self-pollination and encourages cross-pollination. There are two main flowering patterns, often called Type A and Type B. Type A flowers open as female in the morning, close, then reopen as male the following afternoon. Type B flowers open as female in the afternoon, then male the next morning. When both types grow near each other, their timing overlaps, dramatically increasing pollination and fruit set. You can still get fruit with one tree, but yields improve when flowering types mix. Temperature also affects this timing. Cool weather can shift schedules, causing more overlap even within one tree. Warm, stable weather keeps patterns more separated. Bees are the key players. Avocado flowers don't have strong fragrance, but they offer nectar and pollen. A busy bee population means better pollination and more fruit retention. This is why spraying chemicals during bloom is a big mistake. It harms pollinators and reduces your harvest before it even begins. Encourage bees by planting other flowering plants nearby and avoiding pesticides. You may see thousands of flowers, but only a small percentage become fruit. That's normal. The tree produces extra as insurance. Fruit development and patience. After pollination, tiny fruits begin forming. Then comes the drop, and many growers panic. But this fruit drop is natural. The tree adjusts to what it can support with its current energy, water, and nutrient supply. Healthy leaves and steady watering during this stage help the tree keep more fruit. Avocados are unique because they mature on the tree but do not ripen there. They can hang for months after reaching maturity, acting like natural storage units. This is what makes the endless supply idea possible. Instead of harvesting everything at once, you pick only what you need. Once picked, avocados soften off the tree in days. Meanwhile, the rest stay firm and fresh on the branches. This ability spreads your harvest over a long period, reducing waste and giving you steady food instead of one overwhelming flush. The longer fruit stays on the tree, within reason, the higher its oil content and flavor quality. But don't leave them forever. Eventually, the tree needs to shift energy to new flowering cycles. Patience is part of the process. Young trees may take a few years to produce heavily, but once mature, a healthy avocado tree can carry fruit year after year, overlapping crops and creating that continuous harvest feeling. The system becomes self-sustaining, strong roots, balanced canopy, active pollination, and fruit hanging like green lanterns, ready when you are.